Breaking news! And we have some news. They finally are working on the beta part of the Commander bracket that we saw when Wizards took over Commander. They were saying they're going to do 4 different tiers. Now they are changing it, and they've made this little bracket, and I like it. Again, I'm going to just do a brief one today because I'm breaking the news to you guys, and then we'll talk about it probably another day, probably Thursday thoughts. I'll break it down more because I'll have time to sit down and look at it. But basically, it looks like there are 5 tiers. So basically, so like we had the 10 tier system in the past. This is kind of like a reduction from 1 to 4, and then 5 being CDH, 4 being high powered, which has very little restrictions. But there is a difference between high powered decks and CDH decks, and we're gonna have a conversation about that too at some point as well. Then you've got a 3, which is like an up. You're upgrading your precons. You've got certain limits in it. There are certain cards, so they have these cards they call game changer cards. So these are the cards that are very strong cards. So Vampiric Tutor, Rhystic Study, Cyclonic Rift, your free counter spells. I don't know if I saw Deflecting Spot in there or not, but you've got certain lands, certain things that give extra abilities that are game changers. That you can only have so many of them at a level 3. They say, not depending, you could, but they don't want you to stuff your deck full of them. But it's also like a thing, like if you ran like a Rhystic Study and you ran like a Deflecting Spot, let's say Deflecting Spot was on there, that may not be enough to really push it to a 3 just because you have 2 of those in there. At level 3, I think you're seeing a little bit of combos and stuff that can be in the decks as well. Again, I'm not looking at it. They don't have it posted just yet. This is for me looking real quick at the video and overviewing it. But they had it broken down. Basically, I think level 2 was what current precons are at. I would say older precons might be between a level 2, a 2-ish, level 2. So yeah, your precons are at level 2. Level 1 is kind of like, you just throw a whole pile of random stuff together. It's fun. It has, not super strong synergies or anything like that. It's just we literally picked up a pile of cards and was playing with it. Is what I would believe like level 1 would be. Level 2 is where your precons and that level are. And then level 3, you're starting to upgrade, you're starting to get higher. I would say everything is a 7. You're falling into a 3 and a 4 into 7, because you're not at 7s. Like if you're talking about the old thing where everything's a 7, you're between a 3 and a 4 depending on how many like combo-ish like cards and strong and game changers and stuff like that are in your deck. That can be it. And then again, they said this is all a beta, so they're all kind of overlooking on this and trying to figure out this. The nice thing is they did say like all the cards on the game changers aren't cards to say they can be banned, but there are cards they're watching that could possibly in the future get bans. And if there's other cards that become really strong, they're not going to just straight go just ban a card randomly. It's going to get put on a game changers list, and then they'll watch it, it'll limit it, and then but that's also, they said if they unban cards in the future, they will come down to the game changers list, and then they'll watch those. And if for some reason, these are not breaking the game, they don't need to be rebanned. Or if they're like, oh yeah, these are good, we'll just bring them back in. Not take them off the game changers list because they want to make sure it's fair and balanced. And again, I think that the list is okay. I think it's not bad where it's going. I'm glad they have a spot for CDH specifically, and it's not just 4 is here, so you've got CDH and high power, because like there is a huge difference between a CDH deck and a high power deck and stuff like that. Comparatively to being like a 7 and an 8 or a 6 and an 8, an 8 and a 9, there's a good chunk of a difference, or can be, and stuff like that. So we're talking the old system, if you want to go off those numbers. The new system, 5 is CDH, 4 is high-powered strong. There is no, restrictions in that as well. But again, you're not running at that CDH level where you've got all of the basically 350-some cards that are roughly rotating in CDH with a few variants here and there. Yeah. And then, you've got your other levels as well. So we'll see how it goes. I think it's not bad. I don't think it's a horrible idea. I think they're trying to do the best they can to help people when they come and sit down and play at a table to sit and talk. And I still think it comes down to you need to have a conversation, because here's the thing, even within these, Gavin was even saying it, inside of this frame, there is a little bit of variance for look, this thing says no game changers in this section, but I have 1, but it's it's this random 1 card that isn't necessarily going to break it. So like a Vampiric Tutor, but I don't have anything else that's going to or something along those lines. You could possibly sit and have discussions. Again, it's all about the social contract. You're sitting down having a conversation with people and being like, hey, So what are we playing? Okay, so you're playing like something really strong. You're trying to win, turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, turn 6. Okay, that's probably a level 4. That's kind of where this deck is going to be. I'm running a level 3 deck. I'm running a little bit slower, but I've got some combos, but it's multiple pieces to get into combos, and there's lots of strong stuff in here, but it's still not, it doesn't run a lot of game-changing pieces and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure most of my decks fall into the latter end of a 3, into a 4, and then my CDH decks. Just because of where the cards that I run in my decks and stuff like that. And as I've slowly progressed, most of my decks come in at a higher power. Although I do have several casual decks that are probably at a 3 and fun to play with. So I'm going to have to figure out the levels and sit and discuss with people and look at them and figure it all out. But when more information, there's supposed to be later today a article out. You can get that article, check it out. Hopefully Thursday I will have a full breakdown of all of this and we'll have a conversation about it as well. Thank you guys so much for being here. Excited to see this. Commander is still the same. It's not going to change anything. Nothing new got banned. It's just kind of helping people understand where they're coming at when they sit down at a table. And I think that is good to try to find a way to do this a little bit. And I'm hoping maybe at some point we'll get a app that you can plug in all your cards and it looks at it and it can and basically accurately give you the level of your deck based on what you put in it, as best as possible. Again, you can put go put all the game changers in. It's going to tell you it's level 4. But if you have literally no win cons and nothing, you just put all of the all of the broken cards, because you're running a 5 color, and you just put all the good stuff, but you don't have any win con, then technically it's just a pile of jank in a sense. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. We'll talk a little bit more about it later once we get more information. Thank you guys so much for being here as always. We'll see you next time.